Hello, 12th graders. I'm sorry I can't see you, but I'm glad to be with you just for a few minutes. This is a lit lesson, so we're going to be talking about Robinson Crusoe and the literature that you're going to be reading after you finish Robinson Crusoe. The first thing I want to call your attention to is in your packet for this week. I have sent you a literature assignment sheet for the rest of the fourth quarter. So obviously we're going to be finishing with your few sections of Robinson Crusoe that you've been reading, and we're going to go on to other pieces of literature in your literature book. So I want you to go to your packet and pick out two documents that I sent you this week. The one is called 12th Literature Assignments Fourth Quarter, and the other one is called Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. Go and get those and bring them back, and we'll go through them together. Let's look at your assignments first. And on your assignment sheet, I've drawn a line through what you've already read. But Monday the 6th, and I'm thinking that you're going to be looking at this on Wednesday because that's the day that I assigned that to you, Wednesday the 8th. So you should have already read Robinson Crusoe, those short end chapters 12 and 13, and done the worksheets, okay. But Wednesday, you're going to start something else in your literature book. You're going to read the Jonathan Swift bio, and you're going to read about satire, and you're going to read the first part of Gulliver's Travels, The Country of the Lilliputians. And these are shortened versions, so they're not going to be overly burdensome for you, and hopefully you're going to enjoy them as well. So you read The Country of the Lilliputians and do the worksheet. Then what you're going to do for the rest of the quarter is just follow this literature calendar. Well, let's talk about Gulliver's Travels, and it's a really interesting piece of literature to read, especially since we've just finished Robinson Crusoe. They're very, very different pieces. So read along with me. Gulliver's Travels is a serious work, but it's amusing and entertaining, but in a satirical way, and it becomes more biting and more satirical as it goes on. Now, don't think that you can watch the movie that was made in 2010 with Jack Black as Gulliver. Don't think you can watch that and forego your reading. It might be entertaining, but it will not be a good read for you of Gulliver's Travels. So let's take a look at this document, Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. The full name of the book, this is the full name of the book. Gulliver's Travels, or Travels into Several Remote Nations of the World, in 4 parts, by Lemuel Gulliver, first a surgeon, then a captain of several ships. That's the full title. You don't ever have to write that down. Gulliver's Travels is a satire on the government and the current events and the religion and the society of his day, because he was a satirist on all of those things. I don't know of any piece of literature he wrote that wasn't a satire on those things, but I haven't read all of his body of work. But that's his usual way of communicating to his readers, through satire. It's also a satire in something else. There was a genre of literature called traveler's tales. So people would travel different places around the world, and they would come back and they would write enlightening and entertaining tales about the places that they visited. So this is a satire on that genre of literature. Read along with me. We're in paragraph 2. Lemuel Gulliver, and he is the narrator. He is the I person, and he is, of course, a made-up character, not a real person. Lemuel Gulliver travels to and reports on 4 unique regions of the world. Lilliput, where the people are 6 inches tall. Brobdingnag, where the people are 60-foot giants. Laputa, which is a flying island inhabited by wise men. And the land of the Houyhnhnms. And look at the spelling of that. I will never ask you to spell that because I have to think really hard every time I type it. Houyhnhnms. Inhabited by, Lucy will like this, intelligent horses and brutish, ignorant, human-like creatures called yahoos. It's interesting to read Gulliver's Travels right after reading Robinson Crusoe. They were written only 7 years apart. Robinson Crusoe first, and 7 years later, Gulliver's Travels, but they are very different. Most people consider both books to be novels. Now, if you look at our definition of novels on that worksheet that I gave you about novels some weeks ago, we said that a novel, that new genre of novels that just came into being, was about stories of everyday people living everyday lives. Well, Gulliver's Travels doesn't really qualify that way. He is an everyday person, that's for sure, but he doesn't have an everyday life. He has incredible adventures. But we will go ahead with everybody else and consider it a novel. It's not also, it's very different from Robinson Crusoe because it is not an example of realism the way Robinson Crusoe was. Now, I hope you've turned in already that worksheet that I gave you on realism and Robinson Crusoe. That is a really important understanding of the novel Robinson Crusoe, and that was supposed to be turned in, I think, this past Monday. All right, now, further, let's go down to paragraph 4. The themes of the two books are about as opposite as they can be. Robinson Crusoe's theme can be described as man's perseverance and God's providence. Remember when we talked about theme, we said it's a very short statement of the author's purpose in writing the book. What one message does the author want to get across in writing this book? So this theme for Robinson Crusoe is a pretty good one: man's perseverance and God's providence. Gulliver's Travels theme is very different. It can be described as the foolishness and folly of mankind. And by the way, while Robinson Crusoe was a man of faith, Jonathan Swift was not so much a man of faith. In fact, some people have thought that Gulliver's Travels was a satiric response to Robinson Crusoe's depiction of man's perseverance and God's providence, his depiction of human capability and God's care for his creation. In addition to that, Gulliver's Travels has been called a forerunner of the modern novel, and that's possibly because it's so sharply critical and satirical about human nature. And interestingly enough, some of you will be interested in this, that is considered a forerunner of science fiction work because of its fantastic elements. Okay, let's go down to some exercises that I want you to complete, and these are in addition to the worksheets on your reading. I have 2 questions that I want you to answer. After reading both sections, that is the Lilliputians and the Houyhnhnms, of Gulliver's Travels, answer the following questions. Number 1, how is the exaggeration used in Swift's satire effective for pointing out man's foolishness and flaws? You need to be thinking about that. Give me a good answer. Just because I only gave you a couple of lines doesn't mean you can just throw anything in there. I want a good answer on that. Number 2, the narrator, Lemuel Gulliver, started out somewhat optimistic, but he became more caustic, and you know this word because it was a vocabulary word. It means sarcastic and bitter. He became more sarcastic and bitter as his voyages progressed. That's interesting, isn't it? By the time he got to the land of the Houyhnhnms, he had become very negative about mankind, and some people even call him a misogynist, which I think was also one of your vocabulary words, a person who hates humankind. Given the theme of the book, which I've stated is the foolishness and folly of mankind, give a probable reason why this change happened in Gulliver. Okay, that's your additional assignment for Gulliver's Travels. Have a good day, work hard, God bless you and keep you well. I miss you. Bye-bye.